Welcome to Make Shit Happen. My guest today is Gilbert Sosa. Gilbert, thank you for taking the time and coming over here. And thank you, early morning Monday. I know you got a lot going on. So thank you so much coming over here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and just talk about how to make shit happen. You know?
It. And you are making shit happen. I mean, I know you got some content houses going on right now. You're a busy man right now.
Yeah, I got some content houses going on. Content houses, I mean, also, and a lot of other things, you know, just dealing with right now 14 people and then the exterior team. It's a lot, and it's gonna be a heavy day and a heavy week, but in general, I'm just excited to share more about it, and thank you for considering having me here as well.
No, man, it's my pleasure. When I first saw you and my team saw you, you did something with us at our store, and I saw all the influencers over there, all the people over there, and I loved your energy, and everybody was talking highly about you, how you are making shit happen, and I was like, you know what, I'm intrigued by it, so I kind of did a quick search on you and. Saw who you were. I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to get this guy on my podcast. So I heard your story a little bit that, right after when you graduated from high school, you were going to the Moody School, which is like a kind of like a film school, but really is not. And that's what you wanted to do. But you decided you were going to take a trip to LA.
Yeah.
And see what happens over there, I guess. Tell us a little bit about that.
So in 2016, June 11th, around there, literally 5 years ago, almost exactly 5 years ago. Let me check the date.
Yeah,
right
5 years and 3 days ago.
No, literally exactly 5 years ago, I was arriving to LA, just for the summer, just for 2 months, just to see how it would work out for me. Right before I had to start my freshman year semester at UT Austin, and I never came back. Basically, when I got there, I just went in with the mentality of like, okay, so I'm here for the summer to try out LA because I want to go into the entertainment industry, but I'm gonna try as hard as I can to land an internship or something that will keep me here for a year, so I can take a gap year, or I just have to go back to college next year. And I don't know, I always grew up with the mentality of like going to college because it's smart to go to college. But I always had like this thought like at the back of my mind that I was like, I'm going into the entertainment industry. Like, even if I want to be a filmmaker, like, I don't know if that's the right path for me. So when I got to LA that summer, I did anything possible. I started applying on Craigslist jobs. I started like going to like offices and leaving my resume. And people were like, you're supposed to apply for an internship months ago for this summer, because I was trying to get an internship for that summer. But for internships, you have to apply like months before. You can't just get there and apply and expect it. Yeah. And I didn't know any of this. So eventually I just came across a lot of luck. Basically, I got involved with a really awesome group of people that basically opened the door for me to go into social media. Basically by also doing photo exchanges. So I was a photographer. I am a photographer, but at the time I was like literally just a photographer. I would basically ask people if they wanted to shoot with me, and in exchange I would give them photos, like edited photos for their Instagram. And at that point, like, it was basically like I was giving them free content, and they basically got their content, and I also got to meet them. So I would hit up models, I would hit up like actors and stuff like that. Little by little, it went going, like, it kept getting bigger, as I started talking to more people. And after that, I came across this one person that was like, hey, you should go apply for this one company. And they might be looking for an intern. And this company was called Teamdom. I think it is called Teamdom still, which is owned by Jake Paul, one of the Paul brothers, if you're familiar with him. And basically that's when I got my first big break from Jake Paul, which is crazy to say because nowadays it's a very controversial name. To me, it's still like, I personally put a lot of respect on it because it's literally the first door that opened the door on me. Mm-hmm. And that kind of spiraled into like me not going to college eventually, which turned into a gap year actually, because when I called UT, my high school counselors were able to like get UT to like give me a gap year because I also had a full ride to go to UT Austin. Uh-huh. So like it was a very interesting summer that happened exactly 5 years ago. And it's just crazy because like like it started from just me like getting in my car and just seeing what's gonna happen. I was 18 years old. I wasn't. Now I'm 23. Like I knew nothing of what I knew now at the time. So even now I look back and I'm like, damn, like I don't even recognize who I was at that time. Like how did I do this without any plan, any preparation? And quick side story. My car broke down on the way to LA. I had to buy a new car on the way there.
So you went to school in Houston. You grew up in Houston.
Yeah.
So you told your parents, hey, I just graduated. I'm just gonna drive to LA. And then on the way over there, your car breaks down.
Yeah.
What did you do? You called the parents? You called your parents, or what did you do?
Actually, I did not call my mom, because I didn't want her to worry. And also because I knew the first thing that she was gonna say was like, just come back.
Yeah.
Because like I was not gonna come back. Like I had already made the decision, and I just knew like something was like I had saved up like $5,000 for that summer. Actually, I had saved up like 2,500, but then one of my close friends, one of my mentors at the time, like actually supported me and wanted to fuel this dream. So I ended up going to LA with $5,000 just for that summer. Wow. Which is good. But in that time when buying a car, I had to spend $3,500, which was like,
so now you ended up with only $1,500
for the whole summer. Yeah. So I did it. I was
where did you stay at when you went to LA?
So I actually had already worked a few months before that. So I already booked an Airbnb with a friend that I had met that spring break in Miami, because they were doing the same thing that I was. And now it's like a really close friend. But at the time, we just kind of knew each other. We were just kind of like, hey, let's just get an Airbnb. It was a studio Airbnb. And I would sleep on the couch and they would sleep on the bed. So it was really funny because at the time, I literally barely recall these. I barely have any recollection of this point in my life. Like this happened for 2 months, and I don't remember almost any of that. I had to remember, I was like, wow, it was a studio in Hollywood, and that's what we were doing it. And we were paying like $1,900 a month or something like that, which is crazy. It still is crazy, but I don't know how it happened. But we had 2.5 months secured at the time, which is that's how that happened. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So at least you had something to a place to call it home for at least a couple of months. So you get to LA, you get this internship with Jake Paul's company, and then what did you end up doing after that?
So during this time, it was in very early stages of like just building. So I was figuring it out as they were figuring it out, which was really fun, honestly. And I started basically producing. I started producing as far as like helping create content for social media and helping just with as an intern stuff interns do, like helping do like small tasks here and there. And doing that for a bit until it became like an official thing to where I literally had to decide whether I was going to like continue at this company or drop out of college.
So if this was 5 years ago, were they only doing it on YouTube? Because I know he's a big YouTuber.
Yeah.
Or was he doing it also on like Instagram, Facebook? What was he doing?
So at the time, it was only Instagram mostly. Okay. And they were going, and the whole space was shifting into YouTube. Okay. So a lot of the stuff that happened now, at the time, it was very like in the early stage. It wasn't even in, like, you could say like, it wasn't even a thing, like to be a YouTuber and to like post that much content. Like now, like everybody posts a lot of content. At the time, it was about like creating like Instagram content consistently every single day. And that's just where the whole space was going, because it was going from Vine to Instagram for all the creators. Because it was literally the year when like all the Viners that were going to survive off of Vine were going into YouTube, and he was one of them. And he is one of the smart ones that was able to turn it from Vine to Instagram and then to YouTube and then to everything that you see nowadays.
Vine was like 10 seconds.
Yeah, Vine was 6 seconds, and I think eventually went up to 15 seconds. Okay. But basically with Vine, it was a whole different story, because it just became a platform that, from what I know, from what I've heard, wasn't supporting the creators enough. And then this creators basically just kind of striked, and where they were like, we're going to stop posting, and they went to Instagram. And Instagram was like, come here, we will support you. And then now you start seeing all these sketches and all this content on just Instagram every single day, which is basically what shifted a lot of the Instagram, which is known for photos, to become known for video.
Right.
Yeah.
So Instagram. So let me ask you a question. If someone is listening and they're like, well, we hear content on Instagram. What is really a content? Is a photo a content, and writing something with it, or is a video a content?
Yeah.
Is a funny skit a content? I mean, what is a content? So how would you define content?
I define content as anything that is literally you have to consume it.
Okay.
So like even if it's a photo,
Uh-huh.
that's content. It's just that it depends on the type of creator you have. If you're a photographer and you're known for photography, like a photo is content. It's a valuable piece of content for you. If you're a podcaster and you don't have Instagram, you don't have any of that, but you have a podcast, that's content. So people have to consume it. So I refer to it as anything that people have to consume. If it's an Instagram story, that's content. So like it's literally anything, a tweet. People have to read it. They have to consume it. That's content. If people are paying attention to it for like even a second, a millisecond, and they're having to consume it, read it, whatever it is, that's content to me.
How much content is enough content or content overload? What do you say to that?
Oof, I don't know. I mean, I'm honestly the wrong person to ask for that because like I have the content house model right now. So it's like every day, 24/7, basically. Even on our off days, we're still doing content.
So, like Gary Vee says, nothing is enough. Keep posting, like, and I'm sure you know who Gary Vee is, right?
I do. Yeah. I've gotten the opportunity to meet him before. Yeah.
Me too.
That was awesome.
Mine was a funny story. I'll tell you in a second. But he says that, on TikTok, you should post at least 5 to 7 times.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn, 3 to 5 times. And if he says, if you're just posting enough on Instagram just to make sure you get enough likes, then you're not posting it right.
Yeah.
What is your thinking about that?
So I think that there's a balance because some people I feel like get really caught up in like just posting just to get views and get likes. And they stop and they don't think of their longevity as a creator and actually providing value outside of just that. Because there's people that get millions of likes and millions of views, but as far as like their purpose and their longevity that's building in 6 months, that might not be worth anything because they're not really contributing to the space as much as like you would think. So there's people that are getting thousands of likes or anything like that, but their contribution to the space is huge as like a spokesperson or just in general as a creator because they're preaching something that the person who has 10 million is not preaching because the person that has 10 million just got him because they got a lot of luck and they were very consistent, but they weren't really prepared for those 10 million. So I'd say personally that like it's a balance. It's a debate actually with like a lot of creators in one of the houses that I have that I'm like, hey, like not everything you post has to be just for views and likes. Like I'm telling you from first-hand experience from having a YouTube channel with a group of friends 3 years ago, we literally did that for 300 days almost where we posted vlogs just to get views and others just to like for fun. And we saw like what it built up to. I saw what it built up to where like I feel like nowadays the new generation, everything is kind of like this will do better just because it'll get more likes, it'll get more views. But then you think about it a year from now, you won't even remember that piece of content to where there'll be a piece of content that might not do as well, but you posted it, you created it, and it could move people because it has like a message behind it.
I was listening to, and I was listening to this podcast the other day, and like this guy said that he had posted some videos 2-3 years ago on YouTube. And at that time, he only got maybe 50 people view it or 100 people view it. But 2-3 years later, he has had days that he has had like 10,000 views, 8,000 views. And I mean, why would that happen? I mean, that.
I feel like it's all around. If you ask me that, I tend to mention luck a lot because I think that in social media it is a lot about luck, because there's an algorithm behind every platform, and there's a lot of creators that are really, really, really good creators, but they don't get the recognition they deserve because at the end of the day, everything we do now with social platforms is kind of measured by an algorithm, and it's measured if that content piece is gonna get the attention of the consumer on the other side, and if it's not, and if they don't know how to niche it or find those type of creators right away, then they won't push it. And if they don't push that person's content, that person creator, that creator eventually becomes unmotivated and they stop posting, that's it. That creator is basically, they don't exist anymore because the other creator who's creating is being pushed by the algorithm, you know? And so like when you mention people like that, like I just feel like eventually the consistency caught up to him, the algorithm caught up to him, and it's getting pushed to more people. And maybe also his format got better as a creator, and now he's intriguing more people. He's more entertaining, or maybe it's just a timing now. There's things that we were talking about 3 years ago that were not relevant to our society and now are more relevant to our society.
How much consistency play a part in social media?
I think consistency is like the first thing, honestly.
So if you're not consistent, it dies down.
I think, yeah. And there is those creators that consistency is very varied. So like for someone like a content house right now that we're starting off as like a brand, as like a name, the name of our content house, Tejas House, we have to close every single day because every single day is an opportunity to reach out, to get known by millions of people. You know,
I'm sorry. What was the name of your content?
Tejas House.
How you spell it?
Tejas House.
Like
Texas,
like Texas, but in Spanish.
Exactly.
Tejas House. Okay.
Yeah, so that's like the house we launched last month on Cinco de Mayo actually, and then I have another content house that's launching in a few days. We probably would have already launched by this time that I'll be posting about as well. So
What can you tell us the name of that? Or
I can't share everything yet because
gotcha.
Everything like we want it to be like a boom, you know.
Gotcha.
But it is gonna be also like a very like now my focus like is doing projects that I have a passion behind, and right now one of my passions is just to like I was able to also get the opportunity to work in Latin America after I was in LA working. Like after a year, I was able to move to Latin America and basically also do like the content house model for like a year.
So tell us what I was gonna bring that up right after, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
So you moved into like some Latin American countries. Which country did you move to?
So I was able to live in Mexico and create content in Mexico for a bit.
Okay.
And I was able to start also like a kind of like a content house model there. We're more like a team, you know. It was a content house, but it wasn't really, because what brought us together was the YouTube thing. It wasn't like we were really like creating content like we were creating content every day, but it was like a YouTube channel at the end of the day. It was to build a YouTube channel, you know, and that's really because we had to create we had to be together every day to create this type of content. It kind of just felt like a content house, but at the end of the day, it was for this YouTube channel. Like looking back at it, for a moment, like I was like, that was a content house, but nowadays I'm like, it was, but it was more of like a team. You know, we just built like a team of people and to build this YouTube channel. You know?
So let's just, for people who are listening and they're like, man, what is this content house?
Yeah.
It's just like, let's be clear. So I for my clarity's sake also, it's just like a lot of kids or people living in a house. It's just like almost like a Jersey Shore kind of thing.
I don't know about Jersey Shore. I would say it's more about like it's more like Big Brother mixed in with like social media, but also celebrity Big Brother, because we have people that already have like their followings, but now they need the infrastructure behind this. And basically, what a content house model is a group of creators. It can be big or small. It could be artists as well. It doesn't have to be all creators coming to live under one roof. And under this one roof, they all come together to build the name of the house. And while building the name of the house, they're getting the tools to like basically still do their personal content. But meanwhile, they're also committing to building the name of the house because they're a part of it now. So when you're in a content house model, you basically become a part of a group of people. You become like a team.
Yeah.
And everyone has like, at least in the houses that I have, everyone has like a purpose for why they're there, because they want to turn this into like a business or like something bigger than themselves. Everyone that's in these houses wants to make something bigger than themselves, because if not, they would just be doing something by themselves. And everyone that comes into it also has, like, they get, like, in the houses that I have, like, we have sponsors behind this, so they get to, like, live basically rent free and, like, not have to worry about, like, living expenses and stuff like that, in exchange for them just being themselves, being content creators, and just being a part of the content for the house, which they're building as, like, a part of, like them, because they're a part of the brand. And then they still get to do their own thing as, like, just like their own personal YouTube, their own personal TikTok, whatever. And then as someone like me being behind it, they get to learn, like the expertise of, like, 5 years now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these creators, like, that I have in the house is literally their come up has been in the last year.
So who goes and get the sponsors? Did you do it, or you had a team do it? You had someone do it for you?
So I was able to reach out to a lot of people from, like, my trajectory from, like, the last few years, to kind of, like, be able to help to support these projects. And then some companies also came to me, and I also have a dedicated, like, group of people that help me, like, pitch to, like, brands and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's basically how it works. Like, it's really, like, it is a team effort, really. Like it's kind of like a village, and honestly, a lot of the time is organically. People find out word of mouth, and then they're just like, hey, they DM me literally through Instagram DM. They're like, hey, I just saw this. I want to be a part of this. You know, yesterday I was on a call with this company who's literally focuses on just creators, and it was really interesting because literally, like, it was through DM, and I was able to just talk to the CEO, which is one of the co-founders, which is crazy because it was like, I don't usually talk to creators, but like, I saw your thing, and it was literally a DM, you know, where, like, usually I had someone else from the house that saw the same company, and they reached out, and I was like, that's crazy how now we can just DM people.
Yeah.
It's like, even brands.
Yeah.
It blows me away. Usually you'll DM them and they'll give you their email, but just the fact that I'm able to, like, just, like, hey.
Yeah, reach out to them.
Yeah.
That's it. So if somebody's listening and they're like, man, you know what? I want to be a creator, but, you know, I just left high school, or, you know, or I see all these people like the D'Amelio sisters or whoever they are, right? You know, your people, the Tejas House people. They're like, what should I do? How can I get started?
Yeah.
What would be your advice to them?
Personally, I think that the advice is very varied based on the type of creator you are, but I would say that you just have to figure out just kind of like where you want to start, not really where you want to go, because yeah, you can have an idea where you want to go, but nothing ever goes as planned at the end of the day, especially with social media. You can't have a plan with social media because it's social media. Everything changes every single day, every single minute. You can't have a plan, really. Like, you can have a trajectory of where you would like something to go, kind of like points. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where like you can't control it, because you can't control how people consume, how they're going to feel that day. Mm-hmm. So, like, I would say it's just like, if you want to be an artist and you want to do social media, then just start showcasing that talent. You know, if you just want to become known on social media, then hop on the trends and be consistent at it, you know? But if you're a business that wants to be on social media, you have to figure out, how are you going to, like, basically reach people on a more personal level than you were to, like, a year ago, when social media was not what it was right now. Because at the end of the day, when people are looking on their phones, it's like a connection between them and their phones and what's being thrown at them. And that's why, right, like, there's platforms right now that are like short form platforms. They're 10-second clips. Those 10-second clips are going viral because it feels very personal to people. You know, they feel like they can relate. So I feel like for anyone that wants to become a creator now, it's also like, start now, because it's gonna get harder as we go. Where, like, personally, I see everyone having a following, like, 5 years from now. Just some people are going to have more than others. But I feel like personally, everyone's going to have thousands of followers, because everyone's in social media now.
So you're telling me that basically everybody will have their own personal brand.
Exactly.
So what do you think about personal brand?
I think personal brand, honestly, I'm learning about it as I go. So I don't know a lot, you could say, but I do
Not
know.
just in your opinion about personal branding.
I think personal branding all comes down to like authenticity, like how much it resembles what you do on your day to day. And it's just about dramatizing that day to day, because it's like people can tell when something is not real nowadays. You know, people are really smart. It's crazy. People can tell when something's not like organic. Like even with like when we do brand deals with the house and stuff like that, people can tell when like it's like something that's really like curated or something that's like just feels like it was really fun or not. You can tell also in the engagement when it goes up. It's really crazy. So I feel as far as personal branding, it's really important, because nowadays you have to build your name aside from just like whatever business you're doing. Now, why wouldn't you want to like be the face behind your business? Because at the end of the day, people are going to be able to connect more to a person than a brand. And that's the thing about these houses too. For us to be like even gaining like traction, it's crazy, because we're like, as individuals, we're able to gain traction faster because we're a person, we're relatable. But as a brand, as a content house, it's not as relatable, because not everybody can get to live like for a living, just create content and not worry about life, literally, like paying bills and all these things. Literally, people are waking up in these content houses that I get to be a part of and run, and they're just like, what are we going to create today? They get to choose what they're going to do today. And yeah, maybe sometimes we're also like, we get those days where we're like, damn, like, why isn't it working? But the fact that like you're even able to like choose what you get to do as a creator, just on this content house dynamic, to me is like something that I like something that I always like dreamt of doing, like creating a hub. And right now it just so happens to be in content house form. Eventually, maybe it'll be a whole center or a whole like network. Who knows? You know, like I'm figuring that out as I go. So as a personal brand, that's something that I'm working on myself as well, because 3 years ago, I was just a YouTuber. Yeah. I was just like a creator. And now I'm like doing all these things, like even having been able to talk about this, even being on this podcast, you know, that I'll get to share this later on. I feel like personal branding is just super important for every single person. No one is too small, like anyone, because even if you're able to influence a few hundred people, if you put those few hundred people in a room, you'll be able to tell how much of an influence that is.
Yeah, that's true. So you don't have to, you know, I honestly think you shouldn't worry about how many people are you influencing, as long as you're influencing. I mean,
absolutely.
And we have seen lately, I mean, you know, in recent years, I mean, how much a personal brand means. People do business with people who are like, I mean, you know, like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Bezos.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Gates. I mean, these guys have become huge. I mean, Elon Musk has redefined, you know, what it means, you know, the name with the, you know, with the face with the name of the company. I mean, this guy tweets and everything changes. I mean, you know,
he moves the whole market, literally.
He moves the whole market. I mean, you know, like he has moved the crypto market like on his. He can
do it whenever he wants.
Whenever he wants. He says good, it's good. He says bad, it's bad. I mean, you know, so think about it. I mean, and this is somebody who was nobody, you know, 10, 15 years ago. And I mean, of course, I mean, he has built it through his business. And I mean, I honestly agree with you that everybody should build a personal brand. But what I really liked what you said is that even if you influence 200 people, you're still influencing somebody. And that's what people need to realize, that it's not how many people are you influencing.
It's how.
It's how. And even if you're doing it to 200 core people, it's a lot.
Exactly. It's just, I feel like we all just get super caught up. Like, and this is probably because I've already like been through it in a way. Yeah. Everyone gets so caught up on just like, I want views, I want likes, I want comments. And yes, those are really important. But as you're starting out, as you're building the name, also you want to be able to like scale it how you want, not like have an algorithm define that for you. Because there's a lot of pros and cons to like literally just being an overnight success. You know, not everybody can be an overnight success and make a career out of it, because not everyone is ready for that. And then it's really interesting that you bring up the whole personal branding thing in that way, because also I remember I read about this with like Elon and those type of people, and literally they had to basically build their product, build their companies before, and that kind of built their name. Yeah. Now, just because as those companies kept expanding, it built their name. It's not like they were trying 10 years ago to like go on Twitter and social media and be like, I am gonna be like known as like as an entrepreneur, as a CEO. It literally all happened in the last 5 years, you know, and it happened almost at the beginning by itself. I bet like I feel like nowadays there's definitely people like helping like consult and stuff like that, because you kind of have to just to kind of like have a little more control of that wheel. But I remember from what I read, it was like the brand built itself, and then because he started becoming those CEOs started becoming very outspoken and very like they started having more like of a public appearance.
Yeah.
It started building their name as well, you know,
I mean,
because
such as Mark Cuban and you know, Damon Dash, and I mean, nobody would have known if there was no Shark Tank. Nobody would have known Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody would have known. I mean, you know, of course, you know, like I'm sure you've seen Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I mean, Fubu was a big brand at one time, but it was a has-been. I mean, so nobody would have known, you know, Damon. I mean, you know, so yeah, of course, it just happened. And like I said, I think luck plays a major part, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. So tell me something, and I always, you know, I'm curious about this. I'm sure people are listening, they're curious about it. How does the algorithm work? Or does anyone even know how does it work? Or does it just happen? I mean, or like you say, it's just luck, or what is it?
I feel like if I knew exactly how it worked, like I don't know, this would be a whole different conversation.
You'd be a billionaire, huh?
I don't know about like not even that. Like it's just kind of like no one really knows how the algorithm works, you know, because everyone's constantly fighting against it. Everybody's constantly fighting on how to get on the good side of the algorithm. People have had like their luck with like cracking it, like the people who were like on the first week of TikTok, basically. They figured out that TikToks worked a certain way, and they were able to cater a following because no one else was doing it at the time. When TikTok wasn't really a thing, it was like no one else was making this content at the time that like people nowadays are like, how did they get big off of that? It's because no one else was doing it, but they figured out the algorithm was pushing that, and that's where they were the first, and they did it, you know. And then Instagram, same thing. When creators started realizing like that Vine was not the move anymore and they were going to go to Instagram, they figured out that Instagram was pushing their 1 minute videos, 30-second videos, because Instagram wanted more video content.
Gotcha.
So I feel like the algorithm is something that at the end of the day is controlled by masses. It's based on what people are interested in.
What people consume.
It's based on people who consume, and that changes every second. And there's so many variables, from what country you're in, what language you speak, what's going on culturally, you know, like it's a lot that goes into it. I feel like where like I couldn't tell you because I don't know. But all I do know is that you can tell what an algorithm likes just based off seeing what it pushes and what kind of people are coming out of those platforms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, Twitch, all these platforms are just like they're like for now, like for us, the content house model, it's something that I know the algorithm loves because it's a group of people that are literally dedicating their lives to putting out content for platforms, which gives the platforms more content, which the platforms are able to cater to more people, which is basically keeping the people on those platforms, which is basically competing for the attention of those people.
So, Gilbert, if what I'm hearing from you is like, okay, hey, you know, first of all, the content you post got to be number one. You got to be consistent.
Yeah.
Because if you are not giving your consumer the content, then they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they consume in someone else's content.
Yeah.
So you got to be consistent. Number two, try to be as organic as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And just not too curated.
Yeah.
And
well, it depends. Some people do really well off curated content. It's just like from my experience, it's like a very specific group of people.
Okay.
You know?
But consistency is the key. And don't worry about likes. Don't worry about views. Keep posting.
Like as early on as a creator, especially if you're doing it for the right reasons, I feel like, because the right reasons will keep you in the game long enough.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing with social media. Like it's at the end of the day, it's kind of like you are playing a game with the algorithms, with the platforms, and you have to play smart. You have to know that like it's not about just getting the viewership and everything. You obviously want that, but also it's like what is your brand at the end of the day? Your brand may not need 1 million followers. It may only need 50,000 specific followers that will make your brand a $1 million, $10 million, $100 million brand.
Gotcha.
Now, because that is possible. It's crazy, but it is.
Gotcha. So, people post on Instagram, people post on TikTok, and some people, they don't even know how to post, right?
Yeah.
Does hashtags even work?
I don't know much about the utilization of hashtags working with like personal stuff, but I do know that like even for creators that are in the house, it's worked every now and then. But I feel like it all goes back to there's so like the variables of like just the content that you're making.
Uh-huh.
Like if you're collaborating, it's gonna help if one of the people has an audience already, which is the situation with both houses that we have. There's a combined following of like over 30 million people. You know what I mean? So we already have a built-in following that when people look at these content houses, like they're gonna recognize a face in there, because even though they're in the content house, they're still like a name outside of the content house.
So when you start a content house, you're starting from zero, right? It's just like starting a business. Nobody's there. You got to advertise. You got to bring people in, right?
You have to pitch.
You got to pitch, right? So, do the people who are in the content house pitching it? How does that work?
No. So basically what happened is that it's different for Tejas House and the other content house that I'm getting to launch. For Tejas House, I had to like look for every person specifically. And basically we made like a presentation after that. We put them in the presentation and we started going to brands. And then for the other house, they're already a group of friends. So they just kind of were like, let's do a content house. And now we need someone that's already done it to put it on, And coincidentally, I had just done it like a month ago, and they reached out like 2 weeks after that launch. So they were like, oh, you should help us out. You should help us launch this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And then I just saw compatibility between both houses that I was like, why shouldn't I? So basically, it depends, because some houses, it's just a group of friends that are already together and they already know the brands. They already know the people that can propel them into that next step. But now they just have to create content together and have this like model of like a content house, so they can be consistent. They can hold each other accountable for a month, for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Because it's basically all like speed ramping what would happen in a year, because you have each other to like support. You're not alone.
So when you're posting it, are you posting it as like individuals or Tejas House, or how does that work?
So it's both ways. So we have content pieces that will go on the Tejas House socials, and then we have content pieces that just go on individuals' platforms, and they'll tag Tejas House every now and then.
So when Tejas House, you start the Tejas House, let's say a page, Instagram, TikTok, you're starting at zero.
Yeah.
And how do you build it up?
Well, it depends, because at the end of the day, it's like the content, literally. Like for the first month, I'll be really honest with you. We had organization wasn't the best for Tejas House, because we had a lot of obstacles that we had to face, and going into month 2, we're like, that hasn't worked. We only got XYZ amount of followers. We need to change this. So going into June, which is month 2 right now, it's completely changed everything, just the way we were going to approach it. And basically it's so coincidentally all went back to what it was supposed to be since the beginning. Because all of a sudden, because of the organization, it turned into something else. And then we just got organized, and it turned into like plan A, basically. And now in the last week, we're able to grow like over 100,000 people following. It's just the brand, just off our content, which just to us,
just Tejas
House, which to us was like crazy, because it's like 200% increase from like the last whole month.
So let me get that correct. Last 1 month you had 100,000 followers.
No, month 1 we had like on our group page we had like 60,000, and most of that came from the first video we ever launched, just announcing the project, because we were really intrigued by it. And now in the last week we were able to garner 2 times that, like 120,000, literally.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're hitting like 200K, which is, to me, it's like, because I'm used to like a lot more. I'm like, it's not crazy, but as a brand, it's really crazy that people are choosing to follow like that many people.
I think
you know what
you're
I mean?
in month 2. I mean, I think that's a big success.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure that whatever you learned from that organization, now that you're doing the second house,
It's a life lesson,
it's a
honestly.
lesson. Yeah, it's a lesson. So, Gilbert, what is next for you? I know you had 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, you did the LA thing, you did the
Mexico City thing, yeah.
thing, and you're here trying to do your own thing right now.
Yeah.
And first of all, what did you learn from the LA and the Mexico City thing that you're implementing in this thing? And then what is it, something that you want to, what is the goal? Where you want to go? What do you want to do?
So in LA, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about like people in the industry, and I learned a lot about just what their entertainment, like LA is a mecca for entertainment, arguably still. Arguably because now entertainment is on our phones and you can do that from anywhere. And that's why my content houses are in Texas, you know, because it's different, it's an outlier, but because you can really do it from everywhere. But what you get in LA is the collaborations. And that's something that like in LA, I learned how to network, how to connect with people. I learned just a lot of like the startup things that like, because a lot of people like you would usually start up their business in California and LA. And then in Mexico City, I learned about like myself, like as far as like my roots, as like my culture as a Mexican American, which is crazy because I never was that in touch with it. And I learned a lot about like the Latin market, literally just how it works, how it's so different than like the US market and the rest of the world. So in general, I don't know. I feel like I still have a lot to learn, but bringing it home, which is just really special to me because I literally grew up like 3 miles away from where we are right now. And I never in my life imagined that I would be living here again. Because I remember when I was young, I would say I'm moving to LA and I would never come back because that's where everything is. And after going there, I realized that the grass is not always greener on the other side. So maybe I'll end up there later on. But as of now, Texas is a move for me and for a lot of people apparently nowadays. And where I want to go, I guess. I just started my company this year, which is called Sosa Projects. So I have a lot of projects that I want to do outside of entertainment that are dealing more in like the restaurant industry and like in other industries that it's not just social media, but that it is still in line with like social media. And I guess like after that, my big goal is to have like a production studio for like movies and film, because that's like my passion. But right now I'm very happy with just social media and just getting to work with like all these creators that are so early on in their career and getting the opportunity to just be in their career right now, because I know that like in 6 months, 8 months, they might be doing their own thing already based off of this. And it's gonna be hard, honestly, to like say bye, because now they're gonna be going off into their own and building their own team and everything. And I'm just like, it's gonna be crazy. Like in 6 months, 4 months, whatever. Like hopefully after this goes to the next level. I mean, when it goes to the next level, pretty confident on that. It's just crazy to think about because honestly, like even you asking me that question, I don't know. I'm just kind of going with it. I have my benchmarks, but like I'm still figuring it out as I go. My goal right now is just to make a really impactful move on the impactful like I don't know, like jab into space and just going from there, you know.
So what I'm hearing, if correct me if I'm wrong, 23-year-old Gilbert Sosa is saying that eventually he wants to be an entrepreneur and he wants to venture into other stuff such as restaurant business or whatever other business is.
Yeah.
I mean, more than entertainment, wants to be a full-blown entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay. Full-blown entrepreneur, exactly. Because I think I already am an entrepreneur. Someone's like, I've been figuring it out in the last like year, honestly. I'm like, whoa. Because I always saw myself more as an artist, because that's how I even got to LA. I was like, I'm going to go to be a filmmaker. And then I got into social media. Even then I was like it's social media. It's still kind of like a talent. But then I realized, wow, I think I'm becoming a business person.
You are a business person, because if you're starting a house and you are the CEO of that and you are responsible for all these people who are in there, I mean, and getting the money for them and making sure the bills are paid.
And making sure they're happy.
I mean, you are an entrepreneur. I mean, so...
It's just a full-blown, though. That's the goal. But honestly, I'm
What I
not
mean
in a
is
rush.
like, yeah, what I mean by full blown is creating a brand.
Yeah.
When I say creating a brand, like a
It's being
restaurant, like
stable.
yeah, like
Yeah.
a brick and mortar or an internet business or something
Yeah.
like that. So, how many like right now? What does your work schedule looks like? You had
Right.
said earlier in the interview there was times that when you were in Mexico City, you were working 300 straight. You worked 300 straight days. Okay, so what is your schedule right now?
So now we definitely don't do that because while I do that, the creators, they, like we said, we need to be happy. And when it starts feeling like work, you don't really
Then,
become happy at it.
So
you know?
what? So your creators,
Yeah.
how many days you have?
So with the creators in the houses, we have like a schedule right now that we've all put together that it's very flexible. We still have to adjust every now and then, but we say every single day from Monday to Saturday, we from 11 to 2 we get to create our personal content, which is like basically people just doing their own thing.
Okay.
And then we have a dedicated 3 to 4 hour window that we have to come together as a group and create group content to create the content for At Dad's House, you know, for the brand.
Six days a week.
For 6 days a week, yeah, we go 6 days a week because we're like, yo, it's social media. Like we need to put out content consistently. And we usually like we like to like keep like a little bit of log, like at least 2 days in advance to have content to post, just in case one of the days we're like, yo, we feel really tired. Like this Saturday, it was our 6th day. And even though we were only gonna come together for 4 hours out of that day, we were like, we're really tired. Like this is a long week. I was like, people should just like chill, take a day off. And some people were like, no, I still want to like create. And I was like, well, guess what? When we're in a group, if 4 people, 5 people don't want to create out of 9, it's already like majority rules. You know, it's just hard. Like because it shows in the content. It shows that it's forced. So from Monday to Saturday, from 11 to 2 right now, we have like our personal time. We create our personal content from 2 to 6, 2 to 5. We'll have our group time where we all come together. And after that, people just kind of do their own thing, whatever it is, usually content creation. But it's really up to them because some people take 30 minutes to create a piece of content. Others, it takes them a few hours. It all depends on the type of creators they are because we have an artist in the house. We have like a fashion person in the house. We have like another entrepreneur in the house. We have a comedian in the house. So it's like, it really depends on that. Gotcha. And then on Sunday, on Friday nights, we'll have like our little outings like for dinner. And then on Wednesdays, we'll have like we go create content outside of the house because then it can become very boring to create content at the house. And then on Sundays, we just kind of like all like do our own thing, honestly. Even though yesterday some of us like we went to go get dinner still and we watched a movie and stuff like that. But usually like people are like peace out for Sundays. Like they stay in the room all day and they just relax and just ideate or they just sleep it. Yeah. You know, because we need to be recharged for like Monday when we're like, okay, like we're after the trip, I'm about to go have like our Mondays and board meetings where we're like, okay, what did we do last week? What are we going to achieve this week? And what do we want to do this week?
So what is your work schedule looks like right now?
Mine, oh my God. Yeah, it's right. I was telling you about the content house. Mine is every day from 8 to like midnight, honestly, like every day. Like
you just
8 a.m. to like midnight, like every day.
The grind, huh?
Yeah, because I enjoy it. To me, it doesn't feel like work. So like I don't even call it work. To me, it's my passion. I am so blessed that I get to choose what I need to do, what I get to do, and that every day I'm able to like have like even like a roof over my head, like and just like being able to like just choose to live with a group of people, choose to like create content, the type of content I want to create, even if sometimes the algorithm doesn't like it. The fact that I still get to post it, all these things, like I take it to heart. Because I remember like a part of my life when like it wasn't like that when I was younger because I had no choice. Yeah. So for me, it's just like I go as much as I can because right now I also know that there's over 10 people depending on just any like master plan that we have going on here. Even though like I tell them, I'm like, yo, I don't have like a master plan. You're in social media. You can have a master plan. But if you really know social media, you know that I can change overnight.
It can change overnight. So let me, what is... When you say you know what, social media doesn't have to have a master plan, it just keeps changing. So do you have to move fast to adapt to it? Or?
Absolutely. That's the number one thing. That's the number one thing when you have like this content house dynamic too. Not only do the people that are involved have to be able to adapt, but you also have to be able to adapt in the moment to a situation because of how someone feels in the moment. Right. Like as soon as someone like does like you can like as soon as someone's feeling off, I have to adapt to like how they feel, and help or just support them. You know what I mean? Because if not, it's like if you're going against them, or you can feel that way.
Or if they like it, or if people are reacting positively, you just gotta go.
Yeah,
that way.
exactly.
You gotta continue.
Exactly.
What are some of
Even though you were like, oh crap, I didn't think they were gonna be like.
so then you'll be like, I gotta go that way. I gotta just ride on that. What is some of the mistakes that you have made that you're like, I wish I would have made it, or you know what, that taught me something.
Yeah, honestly, even with mistakes, like I look at them all as lessons, because I make decisions and I know that when I make them, like I can't regret them because I'm gonna learn from them, and I only make decisions that I know I'm going to not regret. So that's just after making certain decisions in the past that like I was like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. But right now, I guess you could say mistakes is like, it's really weird, but I feel like sometimes I set too high expectations for things, and it's better to not set expectations like for like things because you'll become disappointed. It's better to set goals, but expectations in the moment of like, even like how people are going to react, what you think people are going to like that, all that is very emotion driven when you're working with that many people and young people as well. Because the people that I work with are mostly like 18 to 25. So it's still a developing phase of people adapting to the space, you know, and also social media, a very new space. So I guess one of the biggest mistakes I made is like kind of assuming in a way of how people were going to react when like I should just wait. Another one too is not like giving to people too much of a say, if you want to put it that way. Because if they're becoming in the project for you, and they say yes to you because they're putting like basically their life on the line for you for the moment, it's because they trust you in a way. So you have to make those decisions sometimes that they're just going to adapt to because they're there. They want to be there. If not, they wouldn't be there, you know? And sometimes I'm like super like considerate and I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? But when it's 9 people, 8 people, you can't do that all the time because everyone can have a whole different opinion, a whole different viewpoint. And you'll get nothing done at that point.
And you gotta be able to make the decision.
Yeah. And now, like, I was really hard about that, like before, but honestly, after a year of like what happened last year, it really like kind of numbed me in many ways. And I had to like reaffirm all those things. I was like, oh wow, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be doing this. Shouldn't be doing this. And it's not even because you want to like be like the person that says like the boss or whatever, but it's because you just want to get shit done. You know what I mean?
And it's your responsibility. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't understand and don't realize that when they're the boss, I mean, it comes with responsibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, and one of the responsibilities is to be able to make that decision.
And because you want to get shit done.
Because you want to get shit done.
Because you want to like have the power and all that. I tell people already in the house, if I wanted to be the power, I wouldn't, and have the most power in the house right now, I wouldn't be doing a content house. Yeah. I actually have a business right now, like a whole different business that I know also is not as high risk as a content house.
Yeah.
You know, and some people still don't believe it, but I keep saying it. I'm like, trust me, like I would have a whole other type of business, and I would be able to have a whole other type of business. You know.
I want to ask. You said content house is high risk. What kind of risk is it?
I mean, number one, you're depending on an algorithm to really push your content.
Yeah. And if the algorithm doesn't like it,
you're done.
You're done.
Literally, you're done, because it might just be because you were 3 months early, or you were 3 months too late, or you're a day too late, or you're a day too early. So that's the high risk that I see there. Number two, people change. Even when they follow you, their likes change, their interests change every single day. So just because they're following you now doesn't mean in 2 months you're going to be interested in following you still. So it's one of those things that like you have to capitalize on it as you're going. And one of those ways to capitalize on it, obviously, is like the experience of people and what they're learning. Because the number one takeaway from all these houses, from every single person that's in it, is the knowledge. And you can't. And when you're in this type of environment, there's literally no way to put a price on it, because there isn't a college that exists for this right now. It's literally developing as we're doing it, as we're talking about it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Gilbert, I want to be respectful of your time, and I'm glad that you made some time for me. But we are getting, I'd like to keep these.
We can come back. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I would love to have you back as a guest
in a month,
at least, definitely in a month or 2 months. Once you launch that other house.
Yeah.
But we're getting towards the end of the show. First of all, I want you to tell people if they want to know more about you, if they want to follow you, where can they find you at?
at Gilbert Sosa, literally all around. It's whatever. You'll find it.
And,
Google
and
whatever.
Then what, at Tejas house also?
At the house. It's literally all over my social media. So you'll see it on there.
All right, definitely.
That's all I post about right now. That's my content right now.
Gilbert, as I asked this question to everybody towards the end of the show. If today was the last day on earth, let's say you ended up living 100 years old, right? But it's time to go meet your creator, and it's time to go to the next world. And someone brings you a pen and a paper because every content you made, you can't take it with you. You can't do nothing. Every book you wrote, every content you wrote, every movie you made is gone. Now you have a pen and a paper, and they say, Gilbert, leave this for your future generation, for the future world, to remember you, to know you. It can be your 3 truths, something that you will leave for the world.
Yeah.
What will be those three things be?
I guess I would say it would be, honestly, like, it sounds so cliche, but like not giving up. That's it.
That's number 1, not giving up.
That's it. That's like, it sounds so cliche, but it's so cliche. It sounds so cliche because not enough people do it still. Yeah.
You mind expanding on it a little bit?
Absolutely. I guess it just goes back to like whatever it is, like even if it doesn't work, if you don't give up, it's gonna take you to your next step. Like just you being super ambitious and not giving up. Like you have to fail like 100 times, or sometimes you don't have to fail 100 times. You can fail 2 times, and the 3rd time will be the charm. So
I feel like you said not giving up because you have a personal. It sounded too personal.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's because like we all have our things that we go through in life, but you can't let that define you, because if you let it define you, basically it's like giving up. You have to write your own story, and the only way to write it is to not give up, because when you don't give up, you learn from those experiences of like whatever that background is to take you to that next step. For me, it was like growing up as like a first gen in a way, basically, and like not having a supportive like not a supportive like morally, but like just in many ways resources and stuff like that growing up, where like I could have gone a whole different direction in my life, but I always knew, like, seeing just the instincts in like my family, that they never gave up even if it wasn't enough, like that fueled me to, like, I was like, I just have to be smart. That's it. And it doesn't mean book smart. It means how you move about society. Gotcha. Because at the end of the day, you don't have enough time to like accomplish everything. And that's one of my problems too that I didn't mention. I want to do too much, and you don't have enough time for that. But at least if you enjoy doing that, it's fine. Just literally don't give up, because you'll learn a lot. And that's it. Like, you'll feel the fulfillment from not giving up, because you'll know that like it's going to take you to your next destination and your next one. Because the moment that you decide that you don't want to do anything, I don't know what to say, because I haven't had that moment personally.
What is the second?
Sorry?
Second one.
Second one was
don't give up. What is number 2?
Have passion, because passion's gonna show, and sometimes it can be misinterpreted because you're so passionate about it. It's happened to me where like it becomes very, like, I become very serious. That's because that's how passionate I am about it and about accomplishing whatever that is. And then yeah, just have passion, because it won't feel like work. And maybe sometimes it'll have to feel like work, but that's everything. Not everything is like gonna be fun.
I love that. What is number 3?
Be considerate. That's it. Because especially nowadays, because nowadays, even a comment you make on social media, that could lead to someone's like breakdown or something. And being considerate goes back to being nice and being everything, like it goes back to like when you're in a bad situation, you have to be considerate in some way. Some people can be like, you just have to be considerate of like everything has validation. Even if you're in the right, there's still a right in the wrong.
I love that. Be considerate.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You're 3. Don't give up. Be passionate about what you do, and be considerate to others, and be considerate all around. So that's awesome. I hope I can bring you back over here once to check up on you and see how how's your content house is going, and these first 2, and maybe what the future holds for Sosa's projects.
Sosa projects, but first right now, Gilbert Sosa, because the personal branding.
Well, thank you so much for being over here, man. I appreciate it, and thank you for taking this time, and giving us a little, taking us to school on social media and everything
Yeah.
about you. So totally appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
Thank you.
Yeah.